Hi, so I'm Alison North. I'm from the Rockefeller University in New York. I'm very excited to be here. This is my first ever GBI Exchange of Experience. And I'm here together with Claire and Chris to represent BINA, Bioimaging North America. So it's a little bit of an embarrassment to follow Graham, frankly, because it's kind of going from the sublime to the ridiculous. I hope this is a bit of an encouragement, though, to ABIC, because you might think that the US, has a lot of wealth for these things, a lot of resources, but actually there's a massive disparity across the region of the US, Canada, and Mexico that we cover. And I think it's very important that to see that we do face some parallel challenges. So at the moment, so BINA has been existing now since about 2018. And at the moment, we have about 1,200 members, which includes people from about 200 facilities. We've just run our second community congress. The first was last year in Woods Hole, and the second was in Mexico, which you're going to hear more about from Chris, I think. It was very exciting to be here. That was a hybrid meeting. And also, if you want to learn more about BINA, for those who aren't familiar with it, you can follow the podcast on the microscopists, which just came out last month from Nikki Biley, who is our program coordinator for BINA, and Claire and I. So we've been running a number of facility training programs and initiatives. Gosh, it's hard looking up like this. So first of all, we've been offering, sorry? Oh, that's handy, thank you. I hadn't noticed that. Okay, much better. Okay, so soft skills programs, training programs targeted towards facility managers. Some of these are virtual and some of them are actually in-person events like the CALIB training program. Also, the professional development program I'll talk about, which is really allowing funding people to attend microscopy courses, technology-focused courses across the US and Canada and Mexico. Also, the exchange of experience program that we are offering, like GBI. So these include some virtual events monthly, but also we have some pop-up events at meetings and also one-on-one visits. And in fact, on the BINA website, we've just been offered the possibility as a facility now to sign up and say if our facility is open to these job sharing EOE visits. So that's good. And then we run 2 traveling suitcase programs, one of which is the metrology suitcase, which we've based very much on our French colleagues who've allowed us to copy what they have in their suitcase so that people can actually assess the quality and performance of their microscopes. And this is being sent around the countries. There are several of them. And then we have the videography suitcase, and talk to Brian Millis, who is here if you want to learn more about that, but that's to enable people to make really high quality training videos, which they can post online. So our goals and KPIs, short term, obviously, we just want to increase really the technical and business skills of our facility, of our imaging scientists, not just facility scientists, sorry, all imaging scientists. Long term, obviously, we want to increase the sustainability of the facilities. And we have a big emphasis on quality and reproducibility of image data like everybody else here. And to measure the impact long-term, we're conducting lots of longitudinal surveys of the program participants. So you can see here the camembert on the right, showing the professional development program. I'm never going to use the pie chart again. So most of the people have come from the US, but a significant number from other countries. And I think it's very important to say that 75% of the participants have self-identified as coming from underrepresented groups. And this can mean geographically underrepresented as well as ethnicity. So the PD program has been supporting a number of courses this year. You can just apply if you want your course to be supported. So there's a whole load here, including Jennifer Waters' course at Cold Spring Harbor, and also several of the ones at the MBL in Woods Hole, including the course that I co-direct at OMIBS. And you might ask yourself, is it really going to make much of an effect to send only a few participants there to enable them to go by giving them some money? And what we're beginning to see now is the long-term impact of this is the real amplification effect. This is very exciting. Here's my poster child for it, Michael Almeida. So Michael attended my OMIBS course in 2021. He was so enthusiastic, and he said, I'm going to go off and teach a microscopy course at UNC Pembroke, where it's very traditionally underrepresented as well. And I thought, yeah. But he did it. 9 months later, he actually trained this undergraduate research program, which was just fantastic. He said, I'm following your advice from the course, spread the knowledge from OMIBS. So obviously, this is what we all want to see happening. We're also trying to engage a lot with industry. So I'm co-chair of the Corporate Partners Group, and there's a lot of education in there as well. So we've been running these monthly seminars. As requested by our industry partners, they said people don't understand what the different kinds of jobs really involve. And we're trying to recruit people, talented individuals from academia. And so we've been hosting these monthly talks where we talk about different kinds of talks from different companies. The upcoming one is actually our own Meredith Calvert from BINA, who'll be talking about research, but within an industry setting. So this is very exciting. And another thing that we took on from the LABI BINA meeting in Mexico last week was the idea of internships. We already have people from academia going to do internships within companies, but we're now talking to the companies about this idea of them coming to do internships in core facilities so they can learn what the kind of stress factors that we face are. Didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Oh, okay, yes. And so just make sure, yes, I am on the right page. Okay, so challenges that we face. So first of all, as I say, we're very diverse. It's a huge region, and there are a lot of single person manned core facilities. And those people are finding it very hard to find the time to actually attend any of our events, whether in person or even online. And so one surprising challenge has been filling this soft skills online course. Even if we don't charge them, it's hard to find them. Also, my question earlier, I addressed there's a problem of bringing people from abroad to these courses run in the US. It's all very well if we subsidize them, but BINA can't subsidize people from coming from abroad, and they need the full cost. So we need to find a mechanism of addressing that. But Impact is very exciting, and this GBI community has been amazing, allowing us to share all of our experiences and not, as a baby organization, reinvent the wheel. We're learning from all of you. We learned so much at the LABI BINA meeting. Thank you to everyone who was there. And so now I'm going to pass over to Claire to talk about Canada Bioimaging.
So Canada Bioimaging is really a subset of BINA. So we're involved with the activities that Allison has already mentioned. And I just wanted to give a little bit of information about what we're doing more locally. So we have 97 members from 34 facilities across the country. And it's a little bit of a larger geography than Graham was showing, but I think it's 8,000 kilometers from end to end. So I'm highlighting a couple of things at the top. We have an exchange of experience visit that Karen did to our facility in March. And it was really a good experience. She came and attended and participated in a course that we were running. She also gave a seminar. We used the guidelines that Gleb presented. There's some really good tips in there of things that you should do when people are coming to visit. And then the LABI BINA meeting in September, we had 6 people from Montreal who went to that meeting. And I think on the next slide, I'll tell you a bit more about that. So for training programs and initiatives, we've run quite a few courses across Canada in super resolution, fundamentals of microscopy. We've identified the soft skills company that's working with BINA to run those online courses. And we have a meeting in November with the Canadian Network of Scientific Platforms. So this is another group that we're involved with that covers all technology areas. So not just bioimaging, but any infrastructure platforms. And we're doing some power skills training for people working in facilities at that course. Building the community has been really important. So we ran a course in July, which was Train the Trainer. And the idea was to train imaging scientists how to run an imaging course. So we didn't actually teach a course, we taught how to teach a course. And I don't know, I'd love to know from the community, I think it might be the first time this kind of course has been offered, but I was gonna ask the people in the group who participated in the course, maybe just to put their hand up in case people wanna talk to you about your experience, because there's quite a few people here who were part of it. So we had 30 attendees from 7 countries. And one of the things we did, which I wasn't quite sure about at the beginning, but worked out really well, we spent a half a day introducing ourselves. So everybody had 3 slides to introduce their facility, their expectations for the course, and a little bit about themselves personally as well. And it just created this environment right from the start where we knew each other. We had a shared Google Drive, so you can go back and look at, if you wanted to remember, oh, that, the person I met from, overseas, what was their expertise in their facility and so on. So that was a really big success to just build the community. And then the idea was to develop content. We have PowerPoint slides and hands-on activities that we now have in a resource that everybody has access to. And the idea is to continue to develop that over time. One of the challenges we had, I think I'm jumping a little bit to my next slide, but I'll mention it here, was we had 6 people who didn't get visas. So they had their travel paid by Global Bioimaging, but they couldn't come because they didn't get visas. So we're going to run a virtual version in the new year where we're going to try to cover some of the highlights from the course with that group, plus probably we'll open it up for others. And we plan to do long-term surveys of the participants so we can see how the program is, if they're running the course in their region, how that's going. So this is just some pictures from some of our events. I wanted to show the winter scene there. That was the week that Karen was in Montreal. So I think she got to experience all different types of snow. And she got to learn that there is periods where it's too cold to make a snowman because the snow is not sticky. And we had a really great outreach event. There's some pictures there of the outreach event, which we got that idea from Mexico Bioimaging, which I'm sure you're going to hear more about from Chris. And just a last point, this sort of progression was really clear to us that I went to the Mexico Bioimaging Core Facility Management course in February, and I met a lot of that community. And then they came to my course in July. And I think a lot of that was because they had that personal connection. And then we had 6 people from Montreal go down to the Latin America Bioimaging North America course. So it was just really clear to me that propagation through personal contact and getting to know each other. So I mentioned already the visa. We've really had great support from GBI for travel, workshop, logistics. So many people said they wouldn't be at the course without the support of GBI, promoting our network, and really also broadened the applications we were getting for the course by getting a lot more international applications. And support for development of a course logistics handbook is something we're going to work on with Gleb. So giving support to the community on how to run these different types of events. And so as I said, I think this was the first Train the Trainer that was run this way. So I'd be happy to talk about with other people. I think this is a really great method of propagating what we do. Turn it over to Chris.
So here we go, 3-for-1 special offer. If one thing is Mexico known for, it's lucha libre. So this is a tag team effort. I've come to do the slam dunk at the end. So yeah, so it's obviously a great privilege to be here. Really is. Talk about some of the initiatives that we're having in Mexico. So Mexico has a superpower. Mexico belongs to North America and it belongs to Latin America. And this is only a part of what we're presenting, because there'll be a little section on Mexico also in Latin America Bioimaging presentation. So we're extremely one of the you probably noticed that actually some of the numbers that were coming up in the previous slides. Mexico maybe 5% of respondents, 10% of respondents. So Mexico is a big country, very, very big country, 120 million people, the largest Spanish-speaking country on the planet. And that gives us geographical challenges, that gives us difficulties in communication strategies and making sure that we can integrate communities. So it's something we decided to deliberately address through funding from the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. We got funding for a series of workshops to be held over 3 years. These workshops, apart from the benefits they bring themselves, of course, through training and capacitation, was actually deliberately set up to almost force a community to come together. Okay, so these 12 workshops have been held over 3 years. They're being held in 8 different core facilities across Mexico. 6 basic and 6 advanced courses. So each core facility chose what sort of course they wanted to run. Each one has 20 to 30 participants with full stipends. But An important part of the construction of this project was 70% of the participants for each workshop have to come from outside the area. Okay, so we're bringing people from different geographical regions of Mexico together and forcing them to interact. And we've seen it so many times, the magic happens. You just put people together, they start talking about their own courses, they start talking about their own projects, and they just start making friendships and networking. And there's a public outreach event at each workshop. So these are the core facility heads that are involved in the project. We've had a really, really tremendous response. So these are the numbers. At the top line, you can actually see the number of applications. So some of these workshops were 10 to 15 times oversubscribed when we were asking for applicants to arrive. So there's a huge demand for these workshops in Mexico. We're doing our best to try and attend to that demand, but there's a huge latent demand that we're only just really scratching the surface. One of the major things that came out of these workshops was we actually started an ambassador program. So if you receive funding from us to come to a workshop, okay, there's a quid pro quo there. You need to then go back and help us. So we identified the most engaging and the most active sort of members of these workshops, and they became ambassadors for our program. So what does that do? One of the big problems that we always complain about, how do we keep communication strategies, social media strategies? These are the experts, okay? Get them on board, and they're now tweeting, and then they're Facebooking, and then they're Instagramming, and they're actually starting to organize themselves. So the International Day of Women in Science event, we didn't do that. They decided they wanted to do that themselves. The energy that comes out, the way that they start sort of self-organizing amongst themselves has been a real delight to behold. So our ambassadors are huge key to the success of this whole program, and actually making sure that the information reaches the communities that are most important. We have a public outreach workshop at each of these events. So that's 12 public outreach events over the course of the 3 years. Hugely popular, actually. I mean, some of them just go to parks, they're in the public spaces, or they're in halls. So we got Foldscopes. We have the Educaciencia spin-off, which is for 3D printed microscopes. I'm going to have some of those out in the breaks later on. You can come and have a look. But we've had hundreds of members of the public reached. We've done those in museums, parks, schools, science fairs, and community centres. Hugely enjoyable. So LabEx Bina Bioimaging Across Americas. I'm not going to talk that much about it because that will be part of the LabEx Bina, the LabE presentation. But so what's the next step? We're going to formalize. So once we've built this base, how do we take it to the next level? This is through Mexican Bioimaging. So at the LabEx Bina meeting, some of the representatives of this, some of the participants in this project, we signed an MOU, and Mexican Bioimaging will be one of the concrete outcomes of this workshop program, and that's now underway. Very proud to sign that. Success stories and challenges. What have been the most surprising challenges and learnings? So we've done advanced courses and we've done basic microscopy courses. The basic microscopy courses have actually been more challenging, and that's because it's if you have a confocal, you can run a confocal course. If you have a Raman, you can run a Raman course. But actually, when you run basic microscopy courses, you get a real hodgepodge of sort of microscopes, half of which don't work. Some of them have phase, some of them don't. So it's been really hard to ensure sort of a consistent quality of experience amongst those basic microscopy courses. So taking inspiration from the Royal Microscopy Society schools, microscopy in schools kit, where they put microscopes in a case and they ship them to the schools. One of the things we're looking to is to get a basic microscopy course in a box that we can ship and have a consistent quality of experience. There's a huge demand for these basic microscopy courses. That's something we're working on. What have we found most helpful from the GBO community? Everything, just everything. Support and encouragement and resources, and it's just been a phenomenal way to get the whole of the Mexican bioimaging community going. What help do we need to go forward? Was resources, sponsorship, expertise, seed funding with startups and advanced techniques. A training modality that you believe to be specific to the ambassador program has been a huge success. The amount of energy and responsibility in giving those responsibility to the younger participants has been key. So thank you very much for this, and yeah. Thanks for your attention.